This podcast is part of the John Sy Media Network. Welcome to the official, unofficial podcast of the Denver Broncos. It's a working title. Maybe I'll put a poll out to help name this podcast. But let's get started. Sunday, August 11th is the first time we have seen our team in action since January 7th, 217 days ago, when we last played the Raiders, in which we have lost now 8 straight to them. A 27-14 defeat with Jared Stidham at the helm instead of Russell Wilson due to a very controversial decision at the time. Listen, I love Russ and hope nothing but the best for him, but that move had to be done. I did have hope during that 5-game winning streak after 2 devastating losses to the Lions and especially the Patriots. The playoff hopes were extinguished, and it was time to look to the future. With the release of Russell Wilson to eat $85 million in dead cap and no major signings during free agency except bringing back Stidham and trading for Zach Wilson, they had to look to get it done in the draft. Sean Payton got his guy in Bo Nix, and I'm hearing he's having a great camp from Cody Rourke on Threads, which was making me feel hope again. Are we going to be a dark horse team this season, or is it going to be more of the same since Payton retired? I mean, to be fair, I did like Trevor Siemian, even though he was probably never going to be the guy. So, will Bo Nix change it and end the QB carousel that we've had here in Denver? Time will tell. No pressure, Bo. So let's stop with the delay and talk about the Broncos vs. Chiefs game, which I will be recapping quarter by quarter. I would like to give an experience where if you didn't watch it, you would have a good feel on how the game went, then give my thoughts about the game afterwards and throughout. I'm watching this game a couple days after because I was away, so I couldn't get to watch. So here we go. Quarter number 1. We had the Colts' first series went 3 and out after a blitz from Singleton and nearly an interception. Denver would start their possession at the 45-yard line. At their 45-yard line. Jared Stidham got the start today. Tim Patrick got his first catch since 2021 and then ridiculously got a taunting penalty. It really is the no fun league. Back-to-back penalties which hurt the Broncos' first possession, which did look pretty good early on, which was a familiar problem for the Broncos offense last year. It felt like 1 step forward, 2 steps back all year. But the Colts' second possession was looking also pretty good after a missed tackle by PJ Locke, but the defense kept the Colts in check and kept the games pretty minimal to force a punt. And then the second possession for the Broncos had some life, aided by a face mask penalty, and of course, the 1 step forward and the 2 steps back came into effect once again with a holding call on Bowles. The drive did end on a pick, but it wasn't Stidham's fault. Pirine bobbled the football and it ended up in the hands of the defense. Like I said, I'm currently watching this a couple days after the fact. So when I saw the box score first and saw the interception, all I could think of was it a bad read or maybe an arm punt, which I would have been okay with an arm punt as well. But with how this interception actually happened, I'm not too upset about it, even though it was still a killer interception on a drive, on a promising drive at that. And then the second team offense was now on the field for the Colts. Anthony Richardson didn't have too much going on in the first couple drives, but they had a short field ahead of them. The Broncos still had their first teamers out there, the defense didn't break and held the Colts to a field goal. The Colts have now led 3-0 late into the first quarter. And this is the moment we've been waiting for Bronco fans. Bo Nix entered the game with 3:06 to go in the first. His first drive went as well as you would expect from a rookie, with some rush throws, some poised throws. Even though he threw a dangerous pass to Dulcich, he hung in the pocket and took a hit. By the end of the first quarter, Denver was in the red zone with the help from the running game. That's so beneficial to young QBs. If you could run the ball, which is so cliche to say, but there's truth to it. It did almost end in a disaster with a botched snap, but Denver was able to hold on to the football. So we entered the second quarter. Bo ended his first drive with a dangerous bullet to a screen, which almost was intercepted, but Denver was able to get onto the board with a Lutz field goal to tie the game at 3. The Colts' drive started off with a good throw from Ellinger, and the offense was starting to click, but a decision to run on 3rd and 6, they opted for a long distance field goal and missed it, so it put Denver and Bo Nix into pretty solid field position for the start of his second drive. Now, with the second team offense out there, Bo picked up a 3rd down using his legs, which is what I wanted to see more from Russell last year. Bo Nix is looking more and more comfortable in the game right now. This drive was aided by a PI call, which would have made it 3rd and long, but it gave Denver a new set of downs at the 30-yard line. Bo was making quick decisions, which helps the offensive line, and not holding on to the ball again, which we saw Russell do way too often and take unnecessary sacks last year. So this was looking so great for us. This drive did end in with a Mims touchdown pass, and again a quick decision by Nix. Denver up now 10-3 with under 5 to go in the first half. Right now I'm feeling very optimistic. I know it's just preseason, but you have to be happy from what you have seen from Bo Nix thus far. Ellinger delivered a 39-yard pass to quickly answer the Broncos' drive. The Colts got into the red zone relatively fast, and they tied this game up quickly with a rushing touchdown with a minute 45 to go in the half. Now, Bo Nix had the opportunity to run a 2-minute drill, but one play later into the drive, Kroll fumbled the ball, which set up the Colts with great field position. Again, with a minute 30 to go in the half, but the Colts turned the ball over. Denver picked it off, and now we'll have a second chance to tack on some points before the end of the half. The Broncos' offense was bailed out yet again by a PI, which put them into field goal range with 26 seconds left in the first half, and Denver will then take the lead 13-10 going into halftime. Right now, going into half, we're looking good. We're looking good. Defense looking good. Some hiccups on offense, but we gotta be really happy with how poised and comfortable Nix has looked so far. The first teamers looked pretty good, even though Tim Patrick only had 1 catch. You gotta be thrilled to see him out there on the field for the first time since 2021. I've been looking forward to him on the field for so long. Him and Sutton, Mims, that receiving court could be nasty. But Denver opens up the second half with a solid return of the new dynamic kickoff. The Denver offense, I've stated before, looks very impressive on the first drive of the half. Could the offense be the strength of this team for the first time? Saying that since Peyton Manning retired, again, I have to remind myself this is preseason, and it's the first preseason game at that. I haven't mentioned him till now, but I do love the way how Estamine runs the rock. Denver challenges a play. Instead of a fourth down, it would be a first down inside the 10-yard line. I mean, even if it's fourth down, it's preseason. Just go for it. They do end up going for it and getting the first down. Estamine finished the drive with a rushing touchdown to put Denver up 10 with over 9 to go in the third. The Colts' first drive out of the half was a 3-and-out. Now Zach Wilson has entered the game, and I would be very curious on how he looks in this one. He had a first completion, 9 yards to start, which was a consistent theme on first down. But unfortunately, the drive ended on a fumble, which the Colts scooped it up and scored for a touchdown. They closed the gap within 3, making it 20-17 with 6:58 remaining in the third. However, Denver responded well whenever the Colts were gaining momentum each time, which was something they struggled with last season. Denver had a lot of struggles, as we know, guys, but it's looking promising. It's hard to not get our hopes up, but Zach Wilson was making some good throws, although he almost had an interception by a good play by the Colts defense. Tyler Batty capped this drive off with a rushing touchdown to make it a 27-17 game with 2:18 to go in the third. Denver's offense scored 27 or more points just 3 times. 3 times. I'm trying to stay realistic, okay? But the Colts were beneficiary of a personal foul call on this drive, which got them into the red zone to start the fourth quarter. Goodson with a 1-yard touchdown rush to bring the Colts back within 3 again, with 13:38 remaining to go in the fourth, and it was their best drive of the day so far. Now, the Broncos have been able to answer back each time when the Colts would score. This game was about how each team answers back whenever you think momentum was going one way or the other. This was entertaining for a preseason game. I never had that much excitement during a preseason game. But then again, I kind of skip out on preseason games mostly. We had a nice drive going, and then we had a busted play, a holding call. The Colts defense stopped the offense on a 3rd and long where they will get the ball back with under 10 to go, but with a long field ahead of them. They will be looking for their first lead since 3:15 to go into the first quarter. Bean started this drive with 2 zone reads to get out of the shadows of their own end zone until Denver forced a fumble and will have great starting field position inside of the red zone. With 6 minutes to go, Denver attempts to go for it again on 4th and 2. It's preseason, so no harm, no foul if they don't get it. And I would love to see the aggression continue into the offseason. The Colts did us a favor and got an offsides penalty to give Denver a new set of downs inside the 10-yard line. Watson with a burst of speed on the outside for a score to put Denver back up by 10, 34-24 with 5:55 remaining in the game. And of course, the Colts had a great return after the touchdown from Denver. This game was back and forth, probably too entertaining, which I've already stated, for it being a preseason football game. Would you be surprised if the Colts scored again to continue putting the pressure on Denver to keep answering? I sure wasn't. So Bean then threw a bullet pass for a score with 4:11 to go. It's now 34-30, and the Colts going for 2, and they didn't get it. The Denver's defense comes up with a pick, almost returned it to about the 30, and they keep it to a 4-point game. This is where Denver has to show they can finish games with running the 4-minute offense, which has been a problem for many years. Zach Wilson and Watson converts a second and 14 with 3:13 remaining. The timeouts are now coming off. After a short run by Watson, the Colts now called their second timeout with 3:01 remaining. Watson made it interesting by fumbling on the next play, but Denver was able to recover with 2:49 to go. The Colts called their final timeout. Zach Wilson then throws a slant to Brandon Johnson to pretty much seal it. We have gotten to the 2-minute warning. After the Watson run, Zach Wilson ends the game on a fourth down conversion, a 4th and 1 conversion, and the Broncos will win 34-30. Probably the most exciting. Again, I had to state this like 4 or 5 different times because of how entertaining and exciting of a game this was in preseason. So, to conclude my thoughts on this game is that seeing Bo Nix play as well as he did in his first action is extremely exciting as a Bronco fan. Bo Nix was 15 of 21 for 125 yards, 1 touchdown. I was saying this throughout the game. He seemed poised and ready to run the offense, staying in the pocket, taking hits, making quick decisions, which we really didn't see Russell Wilson do. He would hold on to the ball for too long to take unnecessary sacks. Russell Wilson, that is. And he didn't see the field well, as you all well know, Bronco fans. Nix showed a lot of promise. Granted, this was the first game, and in preseason, for that matter, which I stated earlier. I liked what I saw from the offensive line, a couple holding penalties, but didn't allow a sack, which is huge. The running backs were also impressive, which also goes with how well the offensive line played. Denver ran the ball for 131 yards on 36 attempts, which is 3.6 yards a clip. That should get a little bit better. What helped was staying ahead of the sticks, which allowed you to run the ball more effectively. Manageable third downs, which Denver was 7 of 13. Denver also had 400 yards of offense, which Denver again didn't have a single game over 400 yards last year. The main problem right now is the amount of fumbles we had. We had like 4, but that's something that could be fixed in training camp and preseason. Denver did kind of dominate this game. If you take away the fumble recovery for a touchdown and the pick that turned into 3 points, Bronco fans, I know it's early to tell, but we might have a good one in Bo Nix. I should also say that Zach Wilson and Jarrett Stidham did play well also. That one interception wasn't Stidham's fault. It was just bad luck. Sean Payton did say that Bo Nix will get the start against the Packers in week 2 of the preseason, while the Packers said they will probably rest some starters. Unfortunately, I don't have much thoughts on how the defense played. I was more focused on the quarterback play. I will say this though, the first teamers did play well. The defense came up with big plays when needed. So that will pretty much wrap it up for this episode. This has been a recap of the Denver Broncos' first matchup of the 2024 season. Tune in next week on the recap of the Broncos versus the Packers. This was the unofficial Denver Broncos podcast. You guys take care and have a great day.